Bonjour from Ocean Breezer 325. I hope you guys had a great weekend. As you can tell from the opening of this video, we are taking out the Batonge. As here we go, this is the Robert Jujard build I have on the Batonge. So this is filmed before Ranked begins. As recording this video, Ranked starts today, Monday. Hopefully we should have some games of that later on this week, hopefully. So anyway, we're on the map of Estuary. So some things for the French battleships as far as all tiers. They are squishy and they have very good HE that I do not showcase in this video because their AP is just as good as their HE. Not as far as setting fires, but their HE pen is amazing, as well as their AP pen, and damage is the most consistent in the game. So anyway, here we have capture the base. So I was gonna go push ahead with this Wyoming, but I turned broadside, which is something you never want to do in any French battleship, as you can get punished severely. And in fact, you should probably not do it in any battleship. That's a pro tip right there. Try and angle yourself the best you can, and try and execute those opening turns like I did currently, quickly, and at the beginning of the match. Sorry about that. I think I'm starting to get sick, but not to worry about that anyway. So some things I like about the French battleships as far as low tiers. Higher tiers they play differently, but low tiers they have great guns, pretty accurate, and consistent AP that will penetrate and do tons of damage, which is something I like about the Batonge and why I'm gonna use her for mostly the entire ranked season, along with the Farragut, who I've been trying to get destroyer gameplay here, but I've just never had good enough games for it to go on YouTube, so it's been rough going for my destroyers, as Icarus and my Farragut have been the two destroyers I've been trying to play most often, but not really coming together. So anyway, here I start to turn broadside to the right, because, you know, I don't think anybody's going to the right, because obviously there's a mountain on my left and I'm not going to ram into it. So we detect a Svetlana over there on the left side who is blindly rushing forward through the middle of the map in a cruiser, which is never a good thing to do, and neither is it to do with a battleship unless your name is Bismarck or Grosser Kurfürst, who I'm glad to say I am halfway to getting. So hopefully by the end of this year we should have Kurfürst gameplay, finally legendaries. So this New York is begging for it, and he doesn't even fire at me. And that's something you'll notice throughout this entire engagement with this right side, that nobody bothers with me. Opening salvo, 12,000 damage. You see 3 penetrations, 3 over penetrations. So very consistent AP. This Wyoming absolutely gets blasted by everybody. So that Wyoming is not meant to be. He is not loan for this world, as he's gotten Citadel tons already by this New York. So I take my second shot at the New York, and you could definitely tell that the dispersion is pretty good. Second salvo, around 12,000 damage again, and this Wyoming gets Citadeled again. And that would be me if I was the center of the attention, but I'm not. So that's always a good thing. So there's the Wyoming, who's also giving broadside, who has a lot thinner armor than the New Yorks, so I immediately shell him. Luckily here I get HE spammed by that Wyoming, and there's the Citadel. That is 20,000 damage in one salvo. Again, that is very consistent. That's double-digit damage. Right now I'm pretty content with letting this fire burn. Again, it's never a good idea to burn the first fire as well with damage con. So again, I'm waiting, and this Wyoming is still giving me broadside, and pow! He gets another 18,000 HP taken away from him, as that Wyoming just keeps asking for it, as he's gonna be shelled continuously for the rest of this match, as this Wyoming is just not meant to be. And he is still HE spamming me, which is, again, not the smartest play, because he could be doing the exact same amount of damage back to me if he switches to AP, but he doesn't. And that is our first kill of the match, as we take out his main guns for good measure. So now I move on to the next broadside battleship, this New York, who is no longer broadside. He's posing a pretty decent angle. Actually, both New Yorks are. So that's pretty good for them. So we're sitting at 65,000 damage, 3 citadels, which is pretty awesome. So again, we take this shot at the New York. Didn't really lead him that much. And you see that we get 1 ricochet and 1 non-penetration. And I'm kind of upset at myself because if I held that salvo off, I would have gotten a nice juicy one off of this New York, because he would have just turned in to that island and I would have just obliterated him. But I didn't. Yep, right there he would have been gone. He wouldn't have been able to finish his turn. I take my salvo and pow. 2 over penetrations and 3 pens equals 12,000 damage. Again, this AP on the Bretonge is just ridiculously consistent. If you're gonna give stupid angles like that against a Bretonge, you're not gonna live like that. Wyoming died in under 3 salvos. He just got obliterated. Obviously, this New York really underestimates the penetration of the French battleships, but now he's slightly better angled. I think he understands what he's doing, and you see I don't fire because that would be ridiculous. I'd get like 5 non-penetrations and like 7 ricochets off of that angle. But I notice he's still turning. And he's still turning. And then I take my shot. I didn't lead him quite enough, but there he slightly turns in, and you see the angles for the AP shells aren't the greatest. We do get 4 penetrations, but we get 2 ricochets on that late turn, which only adds up to 4,000 damage, but still that is pretty consistent AP damage for a battleship that angled. But a flat broadside battleship, you can expect 12,000 damage a salvo. And this New York slowly turns into his death, and that is our second killed match. And again, we take out his gun as well for good measure. So 85,000 damage dealt. Unfortunately, we are gonna lose. We are gonna win this match by capturing the base, which means I don't get to quite have the match I should have had, but that doesn't really matter, as all of you guys who have watched my first video can recall that team play is valued more than self-play. So we won the match, and that's the most important thing. I already see the Giulio Cesare attacking that New York, and at that range my guns are not the greatest, so I just kind of accept that the New York is gonna fight the Giulio Cesare. So I just move over to attempt to get a devastating strike on that cruiser. But another thing for low tier French battleships, they're not the fastest battleships, but it's offset by their great artillery and most consistent AP at the tier. So again, you could see 85,000 damage, 2 kills, 3 citadels off of that Wyoming, and I hope you Wyoming players take that to heart watching this. If you see a Brittany, you should probably not give broadside, and that goes for any tier 4 to 3 battleship. Tier 5 battleships can get away with that, unless even a New Mexico can as well. I guess the only tier 5 battleship that can't is the P.E. Frederick, or the Prince Eitel Friedrich, P.E. for short, who you honestly don't see a lot anymore. So right here, again, our slow speed is shown as we attempt to get to that kill, but that destroyer did his job in capping the base, the Itzlavia, a Russian battleship, as we all go crazy, and I fire my salvo, and that's the match. So we did relatively good in this French battleship. So that was wonderful trip to Paris, France, as I enjoyed my 3 baguettes. Anyway guys, thank you guys for watching Ocean Breezer, and thank you for riding the waves with Ocean Breezer.